Hi everybody, I'm Cassandra from Craft to Believe After and welcome to another video. Now friends, it has been a fun week and I know I say this every single week that I come on here, but I don't know, just doing whatever I feel like making has been such a pleasure this year. So let me kick off almost exactly where I ended my previous week's video. I will show you the first things that I made during this week. And I almost want to say it shouldn't come as a surprise because I was slightly obsessed with them last week. Of course, it's the very notorious LOAF CATS. I couldn't help myself. I did make a few more. Now, the first one I made, I did another black one because, as I mentioned, my daughter Jessica, she took the black one that I had made in my original set of 4 LOAF CATS that I made. So I made another black one, really liked it. This time, although I did use the green eyes again, I didn't put any white yarn around it. So I just left it like that, but that looks so cute. Then, after I made the black one, I wanted to try and use the toucan fine yarn that I've been really enjoying using lately. I'm not really a person who works with plush yarns often. I do like the odd project every now and again, the LOAF CATS being my most recent sort of obsession. I didn't see it coming, I must be honest, but after I did those first few last week, I've really just been enjoying making them in between. So when I'm working like more detailed projects, or if I finished a project and I don't know what to do next, these LOAF CATS work up so quickly. Especially, I don't do a lot of color changes. Actually, I don't do any color changes. So they are a lot of fun to make because the pattern, you memorize it so easily. So I did the black cat, then I got out my toucan fine, which is a 4-weight chenille yarn. So this black is made with regular toucan yarn, which is a number 6, super bulky. With it, I use a 5mm crochet hook, the number 4 worsted weight chenille, the toucan fine, I use a 3mm, and it comes out this teeny tiny adorable little cat. Now let me show you them side by side so that you can see there is quite a significant difference in the sizes of these two. So I really like the toucan fine yarn. It works up really nicely. I really enjoy working with it, especially because it's slightly thinner. Of course, I enjoy working with smaller hooks as well. But it's such a cute little handheld size, especially for a much smaller child. Now, of course, I would suggest that if you make anything for a small child, that you take out the safety eyes and you embroider the eyes. But because I've just been on a general kick with these guys, I'm still using safety eyes for them. So this was the second one I made this week. Black cat first, this one. Then, as it happened, I had to order some stuffing from Hobby. Living here in Denmark, this is the place where I order from the most. It's very convenient. Shipping to me is super fast because the Hobby warehouse where they ship from is about an hour outside of Copenhagen. So I get my delivery in about a day or two. Very, very quick, very convenient for me. And I ordered a few packs of stuffing fiberful, and then I thought, although I don't need any more yarn, I mean, do any of us really need any more yarn? Anyway, I thought, let me try some of the different chenille yarns that Hobby has got available. They've got the I just got about 3 or 4 different skeins. I got this, which is the Honey Bunny Candy. Now you can get this in like a lot of shops. I think the Premier Parfait Chunky comes out with like a pom-pom, Premier Parfait pom-pom or something in that line. Or, I mean, you can get these speckly chenille yarns in a variety of different brands. So I thought, because I really like the black cats a lot, but I don't love working with just pure black, although it does come out very cute. I thought I'm going to get some darker colors, but have it with some speckles in it, just to give it a little bit of an interesting look. So not at all anything related to a realistic cat, but I got this grey one. I also bought just a black one, the same with the coloured speckles in it. And then I gave this one a try, Baby Snuggle print. Now there's not a lot of colours in this available, but this one, when I saw it, it reminded me of, I think it's called Unicorn Popcorn. And I will pop a picture on the screen. It's like that very, very colourful popcorn that you get. So if you see the photo, I'm sure you would more or less know what I'm talking about. But when I saw this, I thought this would work up really cute as like a unicorn popcorn themed cat. But let me show you. This is the first one, the what is this, the Honey Bunny Candy, and I love it. I love these speckles. I think it looks super cute. I want to make one in just the full black, or the, you know, just the regular black with the speckles. I think it will be very adorable. You know, just having these teeny tiny flecks of color in between. So this was the Honey Bunny Candy. Then the Baby Snuggle print. Now I know there's a lot of variegated and a lot of print type of chenille yarns out there, but this one, once I worked it up, it definitely reminded me of Unicorn Popcorn. I think it's so cute. So as I say, nothing at all realistic looking, but quite frankly, if you make LOAF cats, who cares if they look realistic? They are just so super cute. I've been loving this pattern, you guys. It's insane how much I've been enjoying this LOAF cat pattern, and I'm sure I will make a few more. I want to make some with embroidered eyes to see how they turn out. I think that is a very good option, especially for those doing markets or makes things for like small children. If you have your small little grandchildren, they would love this. And of course, embroidered eyes, always a better option. So that has been my LOAF cat collection of this week. Let's see if any more cats make it into my house within the coming weeks. All right, next on the list. As you know, I've been joining my friend Lee and her hashtag Army Olympics crochet along, where she makes amigurumis inspired by the Olympics. So I will link Lee's channel down below. She just released, I think, her third video on, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Oh, I loved it. The makes are so cute. And I love this theme. I've been enjoying making patterns for this so much. So you would have seen last week I made my tennis bear based on my Sunny the Sorbet Bear pattern. This week, let me show you the Olympian, the Army Olympian for this week. And it is this cute little swimming bunny. So he is, again, I used the colors of the French flag as inspiration. Already, as you can see, he has won the gold medal. So all of the stress of the Olympics are now off. He already won the race. I don't know which one, don't know if it's the 100 meters. I actually have been enjoying the 400 meter individual medley. I love the medley because then you see all of the strokes in one race. So I really enjoy the 400 meter medley. So I think this is what he has won. He has won first prize, the gold medal in the 400 meter men's individual medley. And I tried also, because I see that the swimmers these days, they swim in these ski pant type swimming shorts. So I tried to give him the same little ski pant swim shorts. He's got a little swim cap on. Now these goggles, it can move down. Let me see if I can move it down. So he does have his swimming goggles ready for action, but I just put it on top of his head. And for him, although I did embroidered eyes, I tried something different because obviously he is extremely excited about the fact that he won the gold medal. So he is just smiling all over, very excited for his gold medal in the 2024 Paris Olympics. Now, the goggles I made using this, I think, is it on the front? This one. So in this book, Lulu's Crochet Dolls, I used that little swimming goggle pattern. So this is one of the two summer patterns. Now I've made this girl before. So this guy's super cute, but I used the goggle pattern from this book. This book is fantastic because it has such a lot of cute accessories that you can use on different amigurumi. So I enjoyed pulling this book out again. Love the dolls in this book, and I enjoyed the fact that I could use some of the accessories on my little swimming bunny. Now, if I remember correctly, I think Lee has got 2 more projects coming out for her Army Olympic crochet along. My next video, which is out next week Sunday, that'll be after the closing of the official Olympics. So I thought I'm gonna squeeze in one more project for the Army Olympics this week. And I thought, you know, I've got now a tennis player, I've got a swimmer, I need a supporter, because what are the Olympics, you know, without the wonderful supporters? And I made this bear. Now, after I made him, I will chat a bit about the bear just now, but after I made him, I thought he does look like he needs a little something. I mean, what does every person, every visitor, every tourist in Paris need to show that you have been in Paris? Of course, the only thing that came to mind was a little baguette. So you cannot call yourself a tourist in Paris if you have not bought a fresh baguette from one of the many, many bakeries in Paris. So I thought this is perfect for my little supporter bear. I crocheted just like a little, you know, little loaf shape. Embroidered some stitches, and then I made a teeny tiny little brown bag that I can put it in. I didn't have proper brown paper, but I thought this would work just as well. So there we have our little supporter bear with his French baguette. Let me just put this down for a teeny tiny second. This bear is actually my rainbow bear pattern that is available on my Etsy and Ravelry. Now, let me tell you guys, I very, very often change my own patterns when I make them. So for instance, in the pattern for the rainbow bear, I actually designed a little heart-shaped nose that you sew on to the muzzle. But I almost never make that nose. I don't know why I designed the pattern like that. It is such a schlep to do that hard nose and sew it on. It always looks a bit crooked. You've got to pull it a bit here and there. So if I make this bear, whenever I make this bear, I almost always leave off that nose and just do a little, just a few stitches back and forth for a nose. So whatever pattern you do, if it's this one, any pattern, don't be scared to bring your own touches to it. If there's something you don't like in a pattern, don't be afraid to experiment a bit. I mean, if you don't like how the nose turns out, you can always cut it off, like the black thread. You can cut it off and you can try something different. The same with eyes. I love embroidering eyes. This guy's eyes I actually also did twice, because I did something weird. He looked like he was extremely, I don't know, cross-eyed. So I just pulled out the thread and I started again. And this is the beauty with crochet. Don't be scared to experiment. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? So So for this guy, as I say, it is my rainbow bee pattern. Also, I don't know why I called it the rainbow bee. I should have thought of a better pattern name for this bee, but anyway, he is called the rainbow bee. I really like, you know, how I designed him. Personally, I do prefer when, and you will see it in my more recent patterns where I do the legs, the body, and the head in one. Unfortunately, in this pattern, the head is separate from the body. So the head you have to sew onto the body afterwards. And it's because of the shaping I did for his little cheek. So there is little cheek shaping and a tip, because I know quite a few of you guys have purchased my rainbow bee pattern when you stuff the head for the rainbow bee. Actually, this goes for any amigurumi. This is my, like, one of my biggest tips is don't be afraid to overstuff just slightly. Fiber fill or stuffing relaxes after a while, and then your toy becomes a little droopy. This is why anytime I stuff something, if it looks like I cannot fit any more stuffing in, I do put just a little bit more. So you need to stuff really well into the shaping of the cheeks to make it a little pudgy looking. But I think this is why I like the shaping on this face, even though the head is separate. Now this little pin, just look at this. This pin I bought when we were in Paris on holiday last year. We went in July of 2023. Absolutely loved it there. They had started setting out a lot of the Olympic merchandise at that time. And I actually wish I bought a few more things. But I did buy this very cute Eiffel Tower with the Olympics flag on the top. And this was perfect for my little supporter bee. This cowl that I did, I do have a cowl as part of the rainbow bee pattern. I don't actually use it as a cowl. I put it on like a little shirt. So as you can see, instead of wrapping it twice around the neck, I wrap it once around the neck and then once around the body. So it almost looks like a little shirt. And I don't know why I've been enjoying doing it like this. It's just, you know, there's so many fun ways that you can dress your amigurumi. And like I say, a cowl that turns into a shirt, what more could your amigurumi possibly want? So there we have it. Let me just one more time put his little baguette in his hand. This is my third and final make for the Army Olympics of my lovely friend Lee over at Lee Mac. Please head over to her channel and just have a look at the lovely projects that she's made. All right, next thing. We are on to one of my favorite parts of my videos these days. Of course, it has to do with the Amigurumi World Tour 2024. We have this week received another project choice. It's from our US recipient of the book, and she chose this adorable donut. Now, two of the patterns in the book, and I think I mentioned it before, two of the patterns in the book I did split in order to give more people a chance to be a part of receiving the physical book. So the mug and the donut, although they are one pattern or one section within the book, I did split them. So the choice this time was just the donut. So later on, whoever receives the book in the next couple of weeks or months, they still have the option to choose the mug. Then we will do the mug. The same is with the sunflower and the daisy. So the sunflower pattern gives you the option to change the petals to make it a daisy. Again, I split those two to be two separate pattern choices. So for now, you can still submit me your pictures for the sunflower, the daisy. Whenever that is chosen, you're more than welcome to send me your daisy projects. For now, this was our most recent US book choice. So the US book has now been sent off to our next recipient in Texas, Nina over in Norway. She did let me know that she posted the book to our next recipient in Denmark. So I'm looking forward to hearing what our international book project will be next. It's been so much fun. You guys, every time I get your emails, and I know I say this all the time, but it's been fantastic. So please feel free to chat to me when you send me your emails. I love reading all your stories about your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your travels, your weather. I love it all. So it's so much fun for me while I put the photos onto the journal to also read a bit about your lives. Now the journal, please you guys, when you check or when you open it up and go through, please check that I have got your name with your correct photo. It has happened that in my excitement, I copy and paste the frames, I pull the photo in, but I never changed the name. So I do appreciate when you guys let me know of anything you pick up that might look a little strange within the journal. Now it is possible for you to submit more than one project of the same pattern. So for instance, Karen, one of my friends, Karen, she is working, or she's doing the projects actually as they come in from both books. So a lot of people stay either just with the US book or just with the international book. We recently, in the last week, had the bunny as the same choice for the international book as well as the US book. And Karen, for instance, she submitted 2 separate bunny projects. So you are more than welcome if you want to do more than one bunny, more than one whale, if you do it in different colors, you're more than welcome to send me your photos. I will add it into the book. But this has been my most recent one. I cannot wait to see what the next projects are going to be. Now I will put a link to anything I talk about today. The LOAF cat pattern, my rainbow bear pattern. What else is there? The next thing I'm going to show you. Actually, I'll put a link to this book as well. Now I've mentioned this several times before, and that is that I struggle with extreme FOMO. So my fear of missing out is quite high these days. And my friend Jenny over at In My Spare Time Crochet, she started a crochet along using the 1 Year of Granny Squares book. Now I don't have the physical book, but I'll pop a photo on the screen. I've only got the Kindle version. So I bought it on Amazon, but as a Kindle version. So I do have the book. Originally, I was not planning to get involved in a very long, like a year-long project like this one. But once I started seeing Jenny, her squares, Caroline, my friend Caroline over at For the Love of Crochet, she did a few squares in her most recent video. I know there's a few other people joining in. And I just, for some reason, wanted to join in and make squares from this book. I don't know why. I don't ever really get this intense desire to do squares or granny squares or any type of square. I do like it every now and again, but I never do enough to do a proper project with it. But let me tell you guys, I've got some projects in mind, and I will speak about that in a future video. It's some fun, very different non-amigurumi projects that I've got in mind for granny squares. And this will work well, especially because I will do different granny squares every week. And my projects do require a wide variety of squares. But the first square from the crochet along, and sorry that it's on my little, these are those IKEA cork things that you actually put your plates on. But I don't have blocking boards. I don't do enough squares and things to, warrant getting a set of blocking boards. So I just stick when I do squares, I stick it on these things, work just as well. But this was a very, very fun first square. Not difficult at all to do. When I saw the photo and I saw it was an intermediate, I'm like, oh, do they have to kick it off with a difficult one? But it really wasn't difficult. I stuck to the colors that's in the book. I'll pop a picture sort of on the side of what the square looks like in the book. Stuck to more or less the same. I used Hobby Rainbow Cotton 8-4, which is a fingering weight 100% cotton. With it I used a 2.5 millimeter hook. hook. So it is a fairly small square, but for the projects I've got in mind, this will be perfect. Now, what's nice from this book is what I've noticed, all of the squares end off with the same stitch count. So for the most part, I believe the squares will all turn out the same size. So if you want to make them in a thicker yarn, make them or use them for a blanket or whatever, the squares should fit very, very nicely together. So that is what I really like from this Year of Granny Square book. So I will link this book down below. I will also link Jenny's channel down below. I've really been enjoying watching Jenny's channel. She's got a lot of different types of content on her channel. She does a lot of different things, and I really enjoy watching her. So head over. I'm sure you guys will enjoy watching her as well. But there we have it. My last project for this week is this really interesting looking granny square. All right, you guys, that has been my makes for this week. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of different things, also sort of a lot of the same, I guess, if you take into consideration that I've just been continuing with the LOAF cats. But I hope you enjoy seeing them in a few different types of chenilles. I hope you've been enjoying seeing my Lympics makes. I hope you enjoyed seeing what you can do with, you know, how you can mix up a pattern to make it fit any theme you want. So as I say, just by changing something small on my rainbow bear, changing his little muzzle, putting embroidered eyes on instead of the safety eyes, giving his cowl a different color, he is ready to be the #1 Olympics supporter. And I mean, especially with this little baguette. Now this, there's no pattern for it. I mean, it's just a little tube that I crocheted in brown. But it's so much fun just to try different things with your amigurumi. As I always say, do not be scared, you guys. Try different things. I mean, amigurumi is basically single crochet. So what can go wrong? If you're going to do a single crochet, an increase and a decrease, you can practically do any amigurumi pattern out there. All right, friends, that is it for this week. As always, I love chatting to you guys. Keep on commenting down below. Let me know what you are working on. Keep on sending me your emails for the Amigurumi World Tour 2024. The journal is looking fantastic. So I will put a link, as I mentioned before, down in the description box. Please head over, have a look at the brilliant projects that's in that journal so far. And we are not even halfway yet. So I'm excited for what the book is going to look like at the end. All right, friends, that is it. I hope you've had a lovely weekend so far. I hope you are ready for the week ahead. And as always, until I see you in the next video, stay safe and stay crafty.